You won't believe what happened next. Imagine waking up one day and the person you love most, the person who filled a room with jokes, stories, and that warm, grounding energy, starts going quiet. Not mad, not distant, just fading into the background. That's where this story begins. It's about a family who had everything and then had to learn a new way to hold on. And it starts with Bruce Willis, yes, that Bruce Willis, and the woman who loves him with a fierce, steady heart, Emma Heming Willis. What comes next is not a plot twist from a movie, it's real life. It's messy and tender and brave. And if you stay with me to the end, you might walk away a little softer, a little kinder, and a lot more grateful for the moments that still shine. When Emma Heming Willis sat down for that deeply vulnerable conversation with Diane Sawyer, she didn't come to sell hope, and she didn't come to sugarcoat anything. She came to tell the truth, the kind that shakes your voice even when you've practiced the words 100 times. She shared that Bruce Willis no longer lives full-time under the same roof as the rest of the family. Instead, he's in a nearby second home with round-the-clock care, a place built around his safety and comfort. She calls it his second home, which somehow sounds gentler than facility, softer than ward. And honestly, hearing her say it out loud, you could feel the weight of that choice, the courage, the heartbreak, the love. Before there was a diagnosis, there were clues, tiny shifts that only someone who knows you down to your bones would notice. Emma Heming Willis remembered how Bruce Willis loved the school runs, those simple drives that become the secret soundtrack of family life. Music, traffic, bad jokes, little rituals. And then those stops and starts began to slip away. The rides happened less often, not dramatic, just less. She thought, that's unusual. And then a bigger change. This famously chatty, magnetic man who lived to connect with people started talking less. The man who lit up a room began to step out of the frame. He didn't fight, didn't flare, he just pulled back, quieter, cooler, not himself. And if you've ever had that gut feeling that something is off, you know how scary it is when you can't name the thing. She did what partners do, she asked. She checked in with love and honesty. Are you okay? Is everything all right? But Bruce Willis, kind, private, proud, would brush it off. When you're building a life together, your marriage is the place you go to make sense of the chaos outside. But suddenly, for Emma Heming Willis, the marriage itself felt like the mystery. She wondered if something was wrong between them, not knowing that something inside him was changing the rules without asking anyone's permission. That confusion? That ache? It's the kind of heartbreak you don't wish on anyone. Then came the first label, aphasia, it explained. The words, why they stalled, why they got tangled on the way out. But aphasia was the doorway, not the destination. As things progressed, doctors finally named what they were seeing, frontotemporal dementia, FTD. A rare kind of dementia that doesn't always show up like the ones people expect. It can blur language, shift behavior, rewire personality. When Emma Heming Willis heard it, she described the feeling like falling. The room goes muffled. The air gets thin. You hear the diagnosis and then you hear nothing else. If you've ever had your life split into before and after, you know exactly what she meant. One of the bravest choices Emma Heming Willis made was to tell their daughters early. Mabel and Evelyn are still young, and she didn't want them to think their dad didn't care or wasn't paying attention. She wanted them to know that the quiet wasn't distance. It was illness. That is a love-soaked decision. To replace confusion with clarity. To protect your kids from blaming themselves. To teach them that love sometimes looks like patience and gentleness and 1,000 tiny adjustments. And here's a detail that will live in your chest for a long time. Even now, Bruce Willis is physically strong. He moves with that sturdy ease you'd recognize from a mile away. But the brain, that beautiful, complicated wiring, has been failing him. Language has become slippery. Words won't always come. But when his family is with him, when Emma Heming Willis or the girls walk in, his face lights up. He reaches for their hands. He hugs. He kisses. He responds. The language is changing, yes, but the love still speaks. Over time, the family found new ways to talk to him, without talking, A squeeze of the hand, eye contact that says, "I'm here." A smile that says, "I know you." That's the thing about families like this. They become fluent in a second language, one made of touch, rhythm, and presence. And that language, even when the words go quiet, can be powerful. Eventually, Emma Heming Willis made a decision a lot of caregivers will recognize as both devastating and necessary. She moved Bruce Willis into a second home nearby where caregivers could keep watch 24/7, safe, dignified, familiar. She said it out loud. It was one of the hardest choices of her life. But she also knew as a mom it was right for their daughters. And listen, the family still goes there, often. They fill the place with laughter, with music, with the same weird inside jokes that only make sense to people who have lived a million small moments together. A second home isn't an ending. It's an adjustment. It's love wearing different clothes. When Diane Sawyer asked Emma Heming Willis what she'd most like to ask Bruce Willis now, the answer wasn't complicated. It wasn't poetic. It was human. Are you okay? Do you feel okay? What can we do to care for you better? That's pure devotion. That's the heart of all this. Today, at 70, Bruce Willis is facing the fight of his life. There have been whispers online, claims he can no longer speak, read, or walk. But the family hasn't confirmed some of those specifics, and it matters to say that. What they have shared is careful and grounded. The illness is progressing, and they're staying present. Still, fans picked up on something powerful at 2 posts on his official social media accounts that didn't need many words. One showed a quiet moment with one of his daughters and a caption that said, essentially, love doesn't always need a sentence to be understood. Another showed Emma Heming Willis cupping his face. Just a touch, but it carried more meaning than any speech. Sometimes a gesture is a whole love letter. Earlier this year, the family gave an update. It was simple. Yes, the disease is moving forward. That's what FTD does, but he's stable. That word, stable, can be a soft landing in a hard season. It doesn't promise miracles. It promises today, and today is something you can hold. And then there's Tallulah Bell Willis, who has been open about what it means to love your dad in public and in private. When Bruce Willis turned 70 in March, she shared a message that felt like a hug and a history lesson at the same time. To the world, he's a movie icon. To her, he's dad, a son, a kid from Jersey who rode a rocket of luck and grit. She wrote about the pride she feels now, the pride of carrying his name, the pride of belonging to someone so loved and so loving. Later in June, she shared a quiet Sunday visit at her grandfather's. A hand held, a soft hug. Her fiancé in the frame, a caption that was small but full. Grateful. It's these little scenes that tell the real story. Stepping back for a moment, it helps to understand FTD in simple terms. It often starts earlier than other forms of dementia and doesn't always attack memory first. Instead, it can change how a person behaves, how they express emotions, how they form sentences. Imagine someone you adore is still there. Same eyes, same smile. But the sentence they want to say is stuck behind a locked door, or the impulse they used to filter now comes out unedited. This isn't a failure of character, it's a disease of the brain. Knowing that can help families swap judgment for grace. It can turn a sharp, "Why did you say that?" into a soft, "I know that's the illness talking." Back in February 2023, the family shared the FTD diagnosis with the world. It wasn't a press strategy, it was a lifeline. They wanted people to know the truth so that rumors didn't define their story. They were honest. There's no treatment yet. That's a hard sentence to say out loud, but they also voiced a hope bigger than the fear that attention might spark research, that one family's pain could help another family feel seen. And if you've been through anything like this, you know how healing it is to hear, "We're in this too." On his birthday that year, Emma Heming Willis let us see the parts most people hide. Puffy eyes, a cracked voice, real grief. She said the quiet part out loud. Sometimes you wake up and cry before breakfast. Not because you're weak, but because love asks you to feel it all. And even in that rawness, she kept showing up for Mabel and Evelyn, helping them process, protecting their childhood, giving them structure and softness at the same time. If you're a caregiver, You know that double role, holding someone else together while your own heart takes on water. There were still celebrations, videos of the whole blended family singing. Demi Moore in the room, Rumour Willis and Scout Willis smiling through tears. Tallulah Bell Willis tucked close, candles lit. Bruce Willis swaying a little, grinning in that way that says, "I'm feeling this." That's what families do when the future is foggy. They throw parties for today. They mark anniversaries like the one in March that made Emma Heming Willis both proud and tender. She looked back on their vow renewal in 2019, Demi Moore filming, the girls singing, friends smiling under open sky, and she held those memories like treasure. Not as a museum exhibit, but as fuel. This is the thing a lot of people don't understand until they live it. Dementia doesn't erase love, it rewrites the script. It turns, "Tell me about your day," into "Sit with me while we listen to this song." It turns, "What do you want for dinner?" into "I'll make your favorite." It turns long conversations into quiet routines, hand lotion massage slowly, a blanket tucked just right, a shared look that says, "I remember you." Emma Heming Willis has talked about finding new ways to communicate, and that's not just poetic, it's practical. If words are slippery, touch can be steady. If sentences are hard, rhythm can do the talking. A walk together, a hum, a squeeze. Let's talk about that second home again, because it matters. Some people hear "moved into care" and they imagine abandonment. That's not what this is. This is the opposite. This is protection. This is love making a hard call, so safety comes first. Bruce Willis is still surrounded by family, still visited, still loved out loud. Because caregivers are there around the clock, the pressure on Emma Heming Willis can ease just enough for her to be a partner again, not just a nurse. That balance can save families. It gives kids their mom back after long nights. It lets love breathe. There will always be rumors online. There will always be that one post that gets traction because it's scary. But the family has been respectful and thoughtful about what they share, and that's their right. The rest of us, we can choose to meet their honesty with compassion instead of speculation. If they say stable, then we honor that word. If they keep some details private, we respect the boundary. That's part of loving people we don't personally know, giving them room to be human. And while we're here, if you're watching this and walking a similar road, maybe with a parent, a partner, a sibling, take a breath with me. You are not alone. There are days that feel like slogging through wet concrete and nights when the quiet gets loud. There are also moments that glow. A small smile after a hard morning, a shared laugh at an old joke, a sudden spark of recognition that hits you like sunlight. Hold those. Build rituals, the same mug every afternoon, the same song before bed, the same photo book after dinner. Routine becomes a shelter. And don't forget yourself. Ask for help. Accept help. Let people carry bags for you, literal and emotional. There's something else Emma Heming Willis has shown the world, and it's huge. It's okay to say caregiving is hard. You don't have to pose as the perfect rock. Strength isn't pretending. Strength is telling the truth and still showing up. It's crying and then making lunch. It's calling a friend and saying, "I can't do this part alone." When she posts the good and the hard, she's giving permission to everyone else to stop performing and start connecting. And then there's the blended part of this blended family. Demi Moore and Emma Heming Willis standing shoulder to shoulder. Rumour Willis, Scout Willis, Tallulah Bell Willis, Mabel, Evelyn. All of them choosing unity because love is bigger than labels like X and step and half. You've seen them on vacations together, birthdays together, singing together. That's not an accident. That's a decision they keep making. And if you've ever had to stitch a family together from different pieces, you know what an art form that is. The truth is, some days this story hurts. You watch a giant of the screen learn to live in a smaller circle, and it's not fair. But isn't it beautiful? Almost defiant. How much light is still here? The way Emma Heming Willis describes his face lighting up when they walk in. The way the girls curl into him like they always have. The way quiet can still be full. That's the miracle of love. It makes a new language when the old one fades. So where does that leave us? With gratitude, with awe, with an invitation to look up from our phones and memorize the way someone we love laughs, to say the kind thing today, to take the drive even if it's just across town and roll the windows down because the weather is perfect for remembering, to keep showing up because showing up is the point. And let's not forget the bigger circle, every family living with FTD or any kind of dementia. The research matters, awareness matters, donations matter, but so does one more casserole delivered to a tired caregiver. So does a text that says, "No need to reply, just thinking of you." So does watching the kids for 2 hours so someone can nap. Heroic love looks ordinary up close. If you've been here the whole time, thank you for listening to this story with your whole heart. It's not a Hollywood ending. It's better than that in a way. It's a real family writing the next chapter together, one visit, one touch, one small joy at a time. Bruce Willis is still loved loudly. Emma Heming Willis is still loving bravely. Demi Moore, Rumour Willis, Scout Willis, Tallulah Bell Willis, Mabel, and Evelyn are still holding the line as a team, and we can root for them by rooting for every family like them, with patience, gentleness, and the kind of kindness that lingers after the video ends. Before we wrap, let me ask you this. Who's your person? Whose laugh could you pick out of a crowded room? Send them a message today. Tell them something you love that you don't say enough. Make the memory now while the day is still warm. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this story touched you, if it helped you feel seen, or if you learned something about love that stays even when words go, please hit a like, share this with someone who might need it, and subscribe for more real conversations that honor real people. Drop a comment with a message of support for the family, or share a tip that helped you on your own caregiving journey. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs tonight.